I'm in over $10,000 of credit card debt right now. I have over, I think, $110,000 in student loan debt. I'm stuck, overwhelmed, frustrated at times, clueless with how to get out. I feel like I'm in a hole. Hi, my name is Christian Savino. I'm from Roxbury, New Jersey. I'm a customer service representative with Bally's Interactive, and I'm also a fashion model, brand ambassador, actor, and UGC content creator.
Awesome. And how much do you make a year as a customer service rep, and how much do you make with the other side hustles combined?
Yeah, so the customer service rep role that I actually just started, but that salary is 42,000 a year, give or take. So it's like 800 and change a week. And then with the side hustles that I do, I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but those hustles have actually been good for me. So I'll just put a number out there. It's been averaging about 500 a week. So that would come out to
25,000 a year.
Yeah, 25, 26,000. Yeah.
Well, great. And the customer service rep role, is that hourly or is that salary 42,000?
So I don't know, it's confusing. I was given a salary offer, but I'm told it's hourly, so it's cut up hourly, I guess.
So you're getting paid $20 an hour roughly?
Yeah, something like that.
And is 800 a week, is that after, or so that's before taxes then, the 800 a week?
I believe it would be. I haven't gotten a paycheck yet.
Oh, so you just started this recently?
Yeah, this is like my 4th day of training.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I'm assuming that's, if you're getting $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, 800 is your gross income before taxes, so you'll probably settle around 600 or 650 after taxes, depending on whatever's withheld or anything.
Yeah, it's depressing.
What did you do prior to this customer service role?
I've like hopped around for a bit. So, I mean, I was a style consultant at a local Target near me. I worked there for about a month. We have to be honest on the show, right? Should be honest. Yeah, so I worked there for about a month. That was like, I think April to May. Unfortunately, I had too many attendance issues and that impacted. Let's see, before that, I think I was an events assistant for about a month. That was like January of 23, I believe, was it? I think it was like January to February of 24, this past January. But I was also a customer service rep in the online gambling industry, because that's what Bally's Interactive is. It's in the gambling industry. It's affiliated with Bally's Casino. So I worked at FanDuel and was on the customer service team there, the online customer service team, from August of 21 till October of 23.
Okay. Let's jump down a little bit the last few years. And what are your future career goals and aspirations?
Yeah, so I mean, I have a couple different career goals. I don't know. Ideally, I would love to be a full-time model. I would love to be, a full-time model, be able to support myself with modeling full-time, or something in, what do you call those? The arts, creative arts, like acting or being a content creator or brand ambassador. I've been doing modeling for a while now. And so the site that I found this project that you have on Backstage, I actually get a lot of successful turnouts from Backstage. Like, I actually have a shoot next week with that. So I've been doing a lot of different freelance hustling work. But anyway, I would love to be a full-time model, be signed with a larger agency maybe, or be, I guess, contracted with a high-end brand and help support their campaigns. Also maybe be a like VIP host at like a casino or a gambling company. Online gambling and sports betting is becoming more and more popular and widely used around the country in the United States as well as around the world. And I find it really interesting. It's definitely a very new, especially online gambling is a very new product. It's very new, like 50 years ago that wasn't around. I find sports betting probably the most interesting. I'd say I'm a pretty sporty guy. So definitely would love to be like a VIP host for customers and support their needs and be a representative of the company. I think that I have strong team player skills. So I'm, and I'm also young, so I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I want to do. And I like struggle with this every day, trying to figure out like,
you're 26, I'm 27. It's like trying to figure out what do we want to do with our lives. There's no answer. Might not find that today. It might be 5 years from now, but also 10 years from now, you might be doing something completely different, and that's okay. The sports gambling industry is a very interesting one. I gambled in college on sports and I lost $1,300 in a week, and I decided never again.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's a great decision that you made, though. That's very responsible of you.
Sports gambling is a dangerous industry because the house always wins.
That's why I don't touch the casino product. But sports betting, if you know what you're doing, there's some strategy involved.
The house never loses.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I know it's tough, but I will say there are some people that like they just understand how teams.
Yes, there are some people that make money, but for every person that makes money, there's probably 100 that lose money.
Yes, I agree.
So it's like being the next Warren Buffett picking stocks. You might think you're hot stuff, but odds are not in your favor. So I stay away from it. My odds are not in my favor. I love sports, but I don't enjoy betting on my teams and them losing. It makes it even worse. So I've said no more to that. But anyway, let's talk about your current situation then. So how would you kind of rate your current financial situation on a scale of 1 to 10?
Wait, like so 1 being the worst and 10 being great?
Correct. And 1 to 2 sentences on why you rate yourself that.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I'll go at 6. I'll go at 6 because I think I fall somewhere in the middle on that scale spectrum. I'm in over $10,000 of credit card debt right now, which I've been paying to, but it's been kind of plateaued. It's actually a little higher than it usually has been. Usually it's around 8. I've gotten it below 7 for a while, but with the amount of money that I've been putting into my student loans, actually, I don't know if this is still 1 to 2 sentences. Okay. So based on over $10,000 in credit card debt, and then I've made my student loan. I have over, I think, $110,000 in student loan debt that is between 2 different loans. The interest rates aren't horrible, but that's, I think, a lot of money that I'm in debt. And I've also made my student loan payments very high, which actually maybe I should look into considering and changing the monthly payments that I have because I pay about $1,900 a month in student loans, which is great, I think, in the long term because I'm paying it off quicker. But like my savings is hurting and also my credit card payments are hurting to some extent.
So you're in first glance, if we got 10K worth of credit card debt, you're automatically sub 3 for me. $100,000 student loans, I see that your interest is low on that, it looks like, which is great. But that is obviously a large number, so we got to figure out how to improve that. But let's dive into your current assets and debts then. So we can kind of dive through your current situation, unpack it all. So your credit card debt, you said you have $10,000 in credit card debt now? So you sent me on the budget, you said $1,700. But that's over $10,000 now?
1,700 of what?
Oh, wait, no, the credit card balance is $10,433. Okay, I guess my spreadsheet was wrong. Sorry. So $10,433 were the credit card debt, and then student loans $108,000, and then you have another loan that's $10,000 that you said is a second student loan?
Yeah, that's yes.
So total debt $128,850. And then assets, you said your car's valued at $5,000, retirement accounts $9,300, and then savings $5,962.
Yep.
Is that where the bank account balance? I guess that was actually, you said that to me about 2 days ago. Your balance was $2,696.
Oh, for checking?
Yeah, just the other day on checking. It's a little bit lower, so I'm gonna move that. Yeah, or why'd you put 6,000? I guess. Do you have another account in your savings?
I may not have updated the savings portion, but let me see if I moved money recently because it's been. I mean, that might have been a mistake on my end. What should that have been? The current status of my savings?
Yeah, the current bank account balance.
Do you remember when I may have put that number down?
So you put that down, I think that probably been in April. April or May is when we first.
Of 24?
Yeah.
I guess that was an error on my end because it's been around 1,600.
Okay. And right now it's $2,600?
For savings or checking?
Combined.
Okay, let me just combine them really quick. So savings is 1,645, I guess 1,650 or 1,700, and I'm just gonna add the next one. And checking is 2,700. So we'll do.
Okay, so $4,300 and some change right now. So $4,300 in your checking and savings. So your total assets $18,700 roughly, which puts your net worth at negative $110,000. Have you ever calculated net worth before?
I believe I have in the past.
What does that number say to you right now?
So I have more liability than asset, or I owe more than I don't know. I'm not.
Then you owe more than you have. But what does that number say to you, like in terms of like how does that make you feel? Where do you want to take that?
Yeah, so stuck, overwhelmed, frustrated at times, clueless with how to get out, how to get out of. I feel like I'm in a hole that maybe my college, the choices I made on where I wanted to go to college maybe wasn't the best choice that I made. Trying to see if I could add any other adjectives. That's good.
All valid feelings. I mean, I think we got to figure out from here, how do you improve your situation? I mean, the beautiful thing is you're young, so it's like you got years of life left in you, so you can change your entire financial trajectory and situation in just a few years. And it's not like you're 60 years old and wanting to retire in 7 years. You are 26 years old, so you have at least 41 years until quote unquote Social Security retirement age, which a lot of things that we've seen in the last few years can happen in just a short year, like in 2020 or 2021. I mean, the world can change quickly, so you can change your personal financial situation quickly too, and 10 years from now be a completely different person. 5 years from now be a completely different person. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how do you get unstuck? How do you, I mean, I can definitely feel how you feel trapped or stuck right now with the mountain of student loan debt that doesn't really seem to go down that much, credit card debt piling on. You have to figure out how can you change some of your current financial situation or habits to improve the situation. So, but before we dive into kind of your monthly expenses and budget, I want to learn more about you, Christian, understand where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? And how did your parents kind of approach money growing up?
Wow, there's a lot to unravel and answer there.
Well, give me the 2 to 3 minute overview.
All right, so we got till 8:08. No, sure. So I grew up in Roxbury, New Jersey. It's a town in Morris County, New Jersey. It's near a large lake in New Jersey, Lake Apacon. I went to, yeah, so born and raised here, went to high school here. It's like an hour from New York City. It's in the northern part of New Jersey. Let's see, grow up. I don't know, after I guess we'll go through college a little bit, or no?
Yeah. Yeah. Where'd you go to college? What'd you study?
Sure. So right after high school, I went to Montclair State University for a year. Then during that year, that throughout that first year, it was like near the winter time. I guess I was wanted to transfer, go to a different college, and I looked around, shopped around, and ended up going to New York University to their New York City campus. Actually, so when I was at Montclair State, I don't know if I declared a major, was in a tough spot, just like trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. I think at the time I really wanted to go into law enforcement. So I was thinking like psychology or communication, something like that. At NYU, I was also in that same boat, but also thinking something along the lines of business. Long story short, I graduated from NYU. So at least I graduated and I have a bachelor's degree from college.
What'd you study?
So I studied and majored in social sciences. I do go to a lot of different alumni outings. So I definitely use my alumni status a lot for just social purposes, networking purposes. I'm also a part of an alumni club in New Jersey. That's been a cool experience. So I help plan events. We're actually planning a happy hour for sometime in September that I'm helping planning with, but we have like multiple events each month that are like throughout New Jersey for NYU alumni.
How did your parents approach money? Did they talk to you about money growing up?
I don't remember a tremendous amount. My parents have like kept things very like short. I guess like short and sweet with me. Not like super over loving. And not that this was like a horrible way, but like I guess this is just like how their parenting style was, and then like this is like our relationship, like father like parent youth child relationship. Their approach was, I don't know. I mean, I think that they've thought that I've had like a little bit of a spending issue, poor spending habits. I think sometimes they've said things that I don't appreciate money, I guess, especially when it's not actually my money, because I think at times they may have felt that I wasn't being thrifty when I was using, say, their credit card to buy stuff, or and ran up their credit card bill. Not insanely amount, like a lot, but like I think that, I would buy a couple things and then like they would say, Christian, like, did you really need to buy that? Like, if it was your money, I think maybe you would have been, or I don't know, you would have maybe thought a little different. But like if it's not your money, then you don't care as much. And kind of had those conversations a couple times. The other approach, I don't remember like in other regards to like their approach. I don't think that they gave me a lot of insight on savings and just like really like thinking long term, like something that, if say, I know people that they have a lot of different investments and they have, money in their Vanguard, and which I have a part of my investments, but I don't remember having a lot of those, like a lot of conversations with my parents about invest.
Yeah, makes sense. And that's what I mean. Most American and families, they don't talk about talk about money because it's just a taboo thing to talk about, and which also puts children in bad situations when their parents don't know about money. They don't talk to them about money. Then the kids get thrown into the real world and find themselves in credit card debt, student loans. I mean, you signed up for $100,000 worth of student loans and probably no one ever told you, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, or hey, maybe this is going to be a $1,500 a month payment once you graduate college. Those are the types of things that why I started the show. It's like these conversations need to be more frequent and happening in the world so that someone can you can knock on your child's doorstep when they're 18 years old on their door and say, hey, maybe don't take out $100,000 of student loans because dad had to go through this and had to pay it off and it wasn't easy. Maybe there's some other ways you think about it. Or, hey, credit card debt is not the best thing in the world to do because you pay a lot in interest. And so these are the types of conversations that I'm trying to have so that they can hopefully help you and help your family as you grow up and have kids. And it only helps change your financial and family tree down the line. So
thank you for that.
Yeah. Why I started. It's just not talked enough about in homes, not taught enough at schools. And the only way that we can help change this is having conversations. But thank you for all that background and on who you are and how you got to where you are today. Definitely sounds like you had some spending problems that your parents didn't appreciate on their card, but that kind of bled over to your own financial situation with your credit card. I mean, you spent $10,000 that you don't have cash to pay for on your credit card, and some of those kind of habits have carried over from your childhood to your adult life. How long has the credit card debt been going on for?
I mean, it's built over some time. I would say it's pretty high right now. I think it's been high because I've been struggling with, I guess, holding down full-time employment and having that source of consistent income. And I guess based on my spending habits, I may have been spending more than I should have at times, and therefore credit card had built up.
So income went down, but spending stayed flat and then just caused the credit card to increase.
Yeah, I don't know if spending went up. I mean, I guess it didn't.
Spending probably stayed consistent, but income went down. So then your balance just naturally goes up when you make less money and you spend more than.
Yeah. And I mean, I am trying to be more cautious. Like even like with this new job, it's like when I go out, I see part of the spending habits. Like when I go out in the world, it's like, I think when I go out of the house, like I have to buy something, it's like, okay, I'm out. Let me go get a coffee. Oh, I'm out. Let me buy lunch, and I've been in the office, and I have to commute to work now. And it's like, okay, I'm out. We have like an hour lunch. So it's like, oh, I could go out if I want and go get lunch, but it's like, that's all going to add up.
It's $15, $20 with tip. And then instead, hey, let's pack a lunch, make a sandwich, bring a bag of chips or fruit or something.
Or skip lunch.
Out the door a couple of dollars versus $20. And that you do that 5 days a week, it's a difference of $75 a week, $300 a month, adds up quickly. So definitely things you have to start thinking about as if you want to change your financial situation, we got to change some of those bad habits that are causing you to spend money. So on that, let's dive through your current monthly budget then. So your expected gross income right now is, you said 800 plus 500 a week. So that will put you, if that holds constant, at roughly $5,000 a month. And if we account for about 25% tax rate, you'd be bringing home around $3,900 a month. Does that sound like where it's going to land?
I would say so. I mean, that's what's tough about putting in the income that I get from those freelance things, because it's like at this week, I don't know what income actually I would get from anything freelance. I believe it was last week I got like $1,000 from an acting gig that was like a 3-day set. And then I believe I also got like $500 from something that I did like 2 weeks ago. So that was like $1,500 there from freelance work. And then next week I have a 2-day shoot lined up, and that's going to be $500 each day. And then so that'll be $1,000. That'll be like within net 30 days. So it does fluctuate.
Okay. So give or take, but if you're averaging $1,500, $2,000 a month, I moved it down to just to account for some variation. I moved it down to about $1,400 a month, so $350 a week.
I think that's valid.
So that'd be $4,600 gross, $3,450 net income. Rent, are you living at home right now?
I'm living at home right now.
Well, hey, that's great. That means let's figure out where the heck this money is going so we can pay off this credit card debt. And I mean, you won't be able to afford to live on your own if you have all this credit card debt and all this debt. It's going to be a lot difficult. So use that to your advantage where you have no living expenses. Let's get after it on this debt, and then that will set you up for success in your life quickly. So car insurance, $157, gas, $370, cars paid off, which is good. So $527 in auto and transport. Groceries, you're spending $282. You said a month, so your total necessity is about $809. Eating out, you only put $80. I don't know if that's what we're going to see on your credit card statement and your bank statement, because you said you're eating out a lot now. Maybe this is the old statement, so you weren't eating out until you got this new job. I don't know. Entertainment 15, health and fitness 50, personal care 85, shopping 60. So your total fund money $290, your total living expenses $1,100, and then you have your total debt payments between your student loans. Your student loans is $1,887, and your credit card minimum payment is, you know what your credit card minimum payment is?
It was zero for a while, but I think since it's went to a certain amount, or also it's in a certain point in its cycle, because for a while I don't know how to say it, like I was on a certain plan that like for a certain,
We're on a 0% interest.
yeah, for a certain amount of time.
And is that still going on, or is that ended?
I mean, I'm getting like monthly interest charges to my,
Okay, you are. Okay, I don't see that on here currently. Like the summary's not on here, so I don't see it. But okay, so that is definitely something that. There we go. Okay, you got charged actually $167 worth of interest on June 20th. So your minimum payment's got to be more than that. It's probably $190 to $200 probably. So that means I'll put $200 for now, just ballpark. So your total minimum payments each month are about $2,078 a month. So that is not cheap. Might be actually more than that, your minimum payment. Might be like $300. But anyway, I mean, if we calculated if your interest rate was 25%,
yeah, I'm trying to look to pull it up right now.
I mean, this is rough estimate. If your minimum payment, this is actually higher, so I think it's might be a little bit lower. Your interest is one. Basically, it's going to take you, if you pay the minimum payment only, it's going to take you like 30 years to pay it off, which I don't think you're going to be 56 waking up just finishing this credit card debt payoff, do you? So we got to figure out where's this money going so that you can attack this and change that. So this is interesting because right now, I mean, your student loan balances are about 3%, 3.2 and 3.7. So those are low payments there. Then we have your credit card at, okay, I see credit card is 22% actually now. So that puts you quite in a pickle because we got to make progress on this credit card balance before we can even think about anything else. But you're living at home, so we got to figure out how do you do this. So let's dive through these monthly transactions then. So on your bank statement, it doesn't look like you use this too much. I mean, you have limited insurance. Is that car insurance?
That was to the checking account, right? So that was a debit. Like that was money I got.
Oh, I see that now. Sorry. $538 you got.
So that was the company. That wasn't my insurance payment or anything.
Okay. You've got your Verizon bill for $125, so it looks like we have a financed phone on that.
Yeah, so that's like an auto debit, auto credit.
You have your student loan payment for $1,500. You have another student loan payment for $387.
Yeah, so that's the two.
You paid $600 towards your credit card. You have some different stuff paid to you in here, just different income. So it looks like you only use your credit card for spending then, and just the automatic stuff like for normal everyday transactions, and your checking account is used for just the auto pulls.
Pretty much, I would say. Yeah, so I have the one credit card. I think thankfully, I think that's all I need. I actually don't know if I would qualify for another, but I think again, that's all I need. And so I have the credit card, and that's also the like what I typically just use for transactions is credit card. I don't really ever have cash on me. And then I have my checking account. This is the one checking account I believe I have. I use that for either direct deposit and whatnot to put money or to do auto debit. So like with my student loans and whatnot, I believe I get there's a certain like I get a lower interest rate on my student loans, I believe, when I opted into the auto debit. So I said, hey, hopefully it'll add up and help me out. So do it.
So let's talk about what you just said right there. You said you think you only need one credit card. Have you ever thought about stop using your credit card and only using your debit card?
Not really, because I didn't know, I guess, the difference.
So the reason I'm saying don't use your credit card is I'm all for using a credit card if you paid off in full every single month. But right now we have $10,000 on your credit card, and all that credit card is enabling you to do is spend money you don't have. And so if you're working on a cash basis just using your debit card, then guess what? You can't spend $10,000 that you don't have because debit card will get declined. And so what I would challenge you is put your credit card, give it to your parents, tell them to lock it away, something where you can't find it, and try to go 90 days without using your credit card. And you'll want to be more mindful about going out to eat, buying drinks, whatever, when you don't have the cash to pay for it. And two, you'll realize, hey, I don't actually need this credit card, and all it is doing is enabling bad habits. It allows you to swipe stuff on Amazon and say, oh, I'll figure out how to buy that later, It helps you swipe things at restaurants, go out to eat more. And so I'm all for using a credit card if you pay it off in full every single month, but that means not carrying a $10,000 balance. So if you had a $0 balance and you paid off every single month, sure, keep using a credit card if you want to. But given your current situation, I don't think having a credit card is helping you. And all it is doing is enabling you to spend money you don't have. And I hope you would not get approved for another credit card, because all that's going to do is you get another $5,000 credit limit. Hey, guess what? 6 months go by, that's going to be at almost maxed out as well. And then you're going to find yourself in an even deeper hole. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea, actually. That is a good challenge. I definitely think that it's doable. I really do. And I mean, lately I have been trying to buckle down in terms of spending. Like, for example, I love coffee, but it's like trying to just brew coffee at home or buy it in bulk, right? The K cups, and then just brew it at home rather than doing, because I'm sure when you go to a coffee shop, okay, like I'm sure it's probably going to be more expensive in the long run buying coffees out rather than, buying coffee like so that you can make it at home.
Yeah.
And wait, there was one thing that you said there that I wanted to dive into. I want to ask you about, so what about getting another credit card and then trying to offload like the credit card that
The interest, basically. So
there's probably a name for what that is.
do like a balance transfer. So basically doing a balance transfer is to stop paying 22% interest rate on your current balance and then transfer another one to get 0% for 18 months. Is that what you're trying to say?
Something like that. Trying to do something like that.
So I'm all for that with a caveat. One, doing a balance transfer, there's fees that are associated with users, like 4% of like the total balance. So like you'll have a $400 fee for doing that. There's a timeline, usually 12 or 18 months of no interest on it. That is great because I'll save you $167 of interest a month. The problem with that is a Band-Aid. That is a Band-Aid on a bucket that is about to explode. And so it is a short-term fix that, yes, if you do that and you can do that properly and you don't use that credit card or swipe anymore, that can help save you and speed up the debt payoff process of the next 12 months. That will save you over $1,000 that you can be paying this debt off. So yes, if you can do it, yes. Do you swipe the card? No. Should you ever swipe that card? No. But if you can do that to pause the interest that you can charge, it's a great idea. Just don't swipe it again. But that doesn't solve the core issue here, which is using a credit card and spending money you don't have. So I think it's a great short-term fix and helps alleviate some of the pain of the interest that is accruing, but it doesn't fix the root of the solution, which is you have to fix your spending problems and stop swiping a credit card. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would say if you can find one, because if your balance is like $1,000, $2,000, I would say it's not worth a headache. Pay that off in like 2 months and you're fine. But given it's $10,000, this might take 12 months to pay off. It might take 6 months. It depends on how hard you hustle and how hard you try. Yes, that can save you over $1,000 pretty easily. So I'd be all for doing a balance transfer if you can qualify for it, as long as you don't swipe that card. It does not mean go do a balance transfer and let's get happy, go shopping and go on vacation. It means do a balance transfer and let's get serious about paying this debt off.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you think it's better to do a balance transfer within the same bank, or
It just depends on who will approve you for one and who has different offers. Not every bank is offering a balance transfer 0% for 18 months right now. So it just depends on who you can get qualified with, who will do it. The same bank might not do it. They might do it. It just depends on who has those offers. You just have to be very careful that you do it only for that and you don't do something stupid with whatever credit line they give you.
well, because like I guess you could use, like, in terms of that balance transfer, you could, like, so with my debt, like I could almost take, I guess, a significant amount to almost park it, right, with that balance transfer on that new credit card, which would be helpful because then that, ideally it would not have an interest rate, right? So is that part of the balance?
Yeah, so basically, if you have $10,000 in this card, and say you can balance transfer $8,000, so that $8,000 would be 0% for, we'll call it 12 months. Instead of paying 20% interest rate on that, that's $1,600 a year that you'd be paying interest if it was still on this credit card versus it's on this one. It's going to save you over $1,000 a year. So it's beneficial for that, as long as you're attacking the debt over here that has the $2,000 left or whatever left, and then you start attacking the 0% interest rate debt at the same time. Like, you don't want to balance transfer for 12 months and then decide, hey, let's start trying to figure out how to pay this off. It only works when you balance transfer and then you start paying off the debt while it's at 0%, because that's only advantageous to you. So you're not paying $167 a month in interest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, I mean, I think that's actually a really great idea, as long as like everything goes as planned.
As long as you're paying it off and you're making progress. If you're not making progress, all it does is add a 4% fee to your $10,000 balance. You're just paying a $400 fee to not save any money in interest.
It makes the hole even bigger.
Yeah, it makes it bigger, and it makes sense if it's going to take you 6 months, 12 months to pay it off. The $160 is that you can save every single month for 12 months is a lot more than paying a $400 fee for transferring it. But if you don't do anything about it, then you just add $400 to the mess that just compiles. So definitely something you need to do. But like looking at your credit card on here, let's see. We definitely have we have some Metro cards. We have your alumni club. We have Uber for $3 or Uber for $45. It looks like Bravo Pizza. What is Vacay Swim US?
So that's a swimwear brand.
So we're shopping right now with credit cards.
So I bought that for modeling. And so the reason I also did that was there was a sale, it was 50%. I don't really shop that much, but the reason I did that was because of all that. And so if you put it on your Instagram story and tag like the swimwear brand, they're refunding. I guess you become eligible to have your order refunded because
So did you get it refunded?
I did not yet. Let me see, like,
You know how you can save 100% on swimwear?
not buying any of it.
Not buying it. There we go. He knows the answer. What's better than saving off a $100 swimsuit or saving $100 off a $100 swimsuit by not buying it? But again, these are decisions in your situation. You have to decide what's more important. Is it the swimwear that you can discount it, or is it paying off this credit card debt so that you can open up money back in your pocket and be able to enjoy life and have a budget each month that's allocated towards shopping? That's the beautiful thing when you're out of debt is, hey, you can allocate money towards shopping. You can allocate money towards eating out. We have eating out on here, Lazario's. We have coffee on here. We've got, looks like you use the bus a lot. LA Fitness, you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself physically, which is good. All for a gym membership. Staples, $43. Walmart, $13. Eating out for $38. Top Golf for $45. Joe the Juice for $13. So just different. You have, I guess, auto repair looks like for $290. So these are just things like, especially the eating out, those are things that you have to decide, hey, what's more important? Is it the eating out, the short-term satisfaction of that? Or is it, hey, I need to buckle down, eat at home, cook meals at home, and save that couple $100 a month because that can go a long way with paying off your debt. If you pay, like you said, just the minimum payment on your credit card is going to take you 30 years to pay it off. I don't think you want to be doing that for 30 years. Paying even an extra $100 or an extra $200 a month will drastically speed up your debt payoff. Let's do a little simulation on that. I can explain that to you. So if you have your minimum payment on your credit card, if you have a minimum payment on your credit card that is about $300, if you decide to pay $450 a month versus the $300, you will pay it off in 30 months versus 350 months. So just by paying like an extra $150 a month, it speeds up your debt payoff by about 26 years. Is that not amazing? Just by adding an extra $100, $150 a month on your minimum payments, what it can do with your credit card debt?
Yes.
It's just, that's how interest works with credit cards. Is, I mean, your payment right now is basically you're paying $100 towards your principal, so your $10,000 balance is going down about $100 a month, and you're paying multiple hundreds of dollars towards that because all of it's going towards interest. So just something to think about. I'll send you some calculators. You can run what are the simulations, just adding additional money to credit card payment. But that is probably the number one priority for you right now. Stop spending on this credit card. It's just enabling bad habits for you to do, and then start attacking. Because otherwise, stuff like we have a late fee for payment on here for $29. So you're late on your payment for your credit card, another $29 on top of the $167 in interest you charged. We have more Uber stuff. We have more cafes you're eating at. We have ShopRite for $50. We have, what is Quick Check Corp? $57 on June.
I believe that's gas. Like that's Quick Check, the gas station. I don't know.
Okay.
Especially if it's that high, like it was gas at a Quick Check.
Yeah, more gas. So you're driving.
Which, throwing that out there, I probably fill my car. I drive an SUV. I have a Nissan Xterra. It's a 2012, so it's probably not the most efficient on gas. I don't know if it's the worst, but it's not the best.
Yeah. Which, as long as you're budgeting for that and you're like, okay, I'm going to spend, like, we have $370 in your budget for gas each month. As long as you're sticking to those parameters and doing that, that's fine. The issue is more of the eating out and shopping. Those are things that you can cut out and cut your expenses down, especially as your income kind of goes up. Because right now, during this time period, you didn't have your new job. And so your income was definitely lower for this time period than what it will be moving forward. So that's why it's very important as you get a new job, continue to hustle on the side gigs, and every single dollar you get should be going towards this credit card debt. The issue I have right now, or that you're having too, is you are very pinched with your student loan payments because they are $1,500 a month plus the other almost $400 payment. So you're paying like $1,900 a month in your student loans. Some people would say refinance it to get that payment down, but they're private loans because you refinance them with SoFi, right?
So one is SoFi, and then one is like HESA NJ Class, which I believe is a private loan.
Okay, so the issue is you can't refinance these unless you want to get absolutely destroyed by the interest rates on it. So you have such a low interest rate on your student loans, which is great at 3.7%, but your minimum payment is high. But the beautiful thing is if you stick to that, do you know how long it will take you to pay those off?
The loans?
Yeah.
5 or 6 years.
Okay, so that's a lot better than paying the minimum payments on an income-based repayment plan at 7% and not seeing the light of day for 30 years.
You said the light of day.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that will just pay the minimum payments on a federal student loan for 30 years and they still have a $100,000 balance.
And they somehow ended it into a house, and it's like they're just with loans.
So I think your situation, I personally would not touch anything with these interest rates or these loans because, yes, it is a high monthly payment, but you're living at home right now and you just got a new job and you can afford to live as long as you stop spending on eating out and shopping and stuff. You can pay these off. You can pay your credit card bill off, and then you will have a lot less debt 5 years from now versus carrying on $100,000 of student loans over the next 10 years or 30 years. The issue is right now you are in a kind of a tight spot. Your total expenses around $3,200 with your minimum payments, and your projected to make about $3,400. So it doesn't give you a ton of margin in how much you can attack at the credit cards. So I think that's probably the biggest thing you have to figure out is really what you need to do is a couple of things. One is the credit card. Stop using a credit card. Stop swiping it. Try to do a balance transfer to stop cutting down on the interest. That will help you along with the next 12 to 18 months, especially if you don't have that much margin in your budget. Number two is budgeting. You need to understand how much money you're spending every single month on food, on whether it's groceries, eating out, shopping. Set a strict budget. Cut out the unnecessary things. You need to throw everything at this credit card debt as quickly as possible after that. And then the other thing is you might need more income. Continue to figure out your side hustles. How do you make more money with that? How do you make $2,000 or $3,000 a month from your side hustles while working your full-time new job, and every single dollar you have be going towards this debt? Because right now, if you're making $3,500 and you have $3,200 in expenses, you have $300 a month to throw at the credit card debt on top of the minimum payments, but that's still going to take you 2 years to pay off the credit card debt probably. It's not going to be paid off within 6 months or 12 months. So how can you create an additional $500 a month so you can be throwing like $1,000 a month at the credit card debt and get it paid off in a year? Especially with the interest rate. If the interest rate does go to zero for that time period, $1,000 a month, you'll get it cleared in a year pretty easily. So that's why the interest balance transfer would be beneficial in your situation. But that's something you have to figure out is how do you continue to grow your income so that you can survive, pay off your debt, continue paying on your student loans. And then once you have your credit card debt paid off, this is where some people will tell you, hey, start attacking the student loans with all your might. Others will tell you they're at 3 to 4% and you should invest or save the difference. I'm in the boat. I don't care what you do as long as you do one or the other. You can't pay off your credit card debt and then just go spend all the money and not pay off your student loans. You have to pay off your credit card debt and then either be saving that money in an emergency fund or investing that money where that margin is. You go spend it, then you're better off paying off your student loans because they get paid off faster. But I mean, typical steps are build an emergency fund. Then you start investing once you're debt-free in a Roth IRA or in taxable brokerage accounts. 401ks, if you have a match at work as well, are great things to do. But that's where I think once you get out of your credit card debt, I'd love for us to have a further conversation and talk more about investing. What does your head look like for investing? What do you want to do with these student loans? You can either attack the student loans and pay them off faster than 5 or 6 years, or you can say, hey, I'll pay the minimum payments for the next 5 or 6 years because it's already $1,500 a month or $1,900 a month. And everything on top of that, you can invest and try to play that arbitrage game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with what index funds are?
Yeah, to some extent.
Have you ever invested before in single stocks?
I've invested in cryptocurrency.
Okay. Did you make any money?
I think in the long run, I broke even. But I did make some money, and I beat myself up a little bit because I was investing in, there was one, I forget what it was.
A high risk, high reward shitcoin, probably.
Nah, it ended up going up. And the reason that's why I was saying, what was it? It began with an M, I think. And like when I wasn't, it was going up. And then like when I had it, it was like 130 or something a share. And it was going good. And then like I sold at the right times, made a little bit of money. And then it's at like $1,000 now, I think. I forget what it's called.
You win some and you lose some. And the issue with cryptos is so volatile. Yes, you can make some money in it, but you can also lose a lot of money. I have friends that have lost 6 and 7 figures in the crypto world. It can be pretty. I have friends that have made money, but it's high risk, high reward. And a lot of time Just like sports gambling, there's a few and far in between that make money, and there's a lot that lose money. And so index funds, to explain it simply, is like you can buy a single share worth of Apple or Microsoft or Nvidia. And then the same thing, I guess, you invest in that crypto. If that stock takes off, you make a lot of money, but if that stock goes to zero, you lose all your money. And so what index funds are is think of a basket of stocks that like hundreds or dozens of companies, you own bits and pieces of hundreds of companies. So if company 300 goes down, your entire portfolio doesn't go to zero. You're then diversified across hundreds of companies. And so that's the best way to invest, in my opinion, because you're not trying to be the next Warren Buffett and sit here and read earnings calls, looking at financial statements of companies. You don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And we're not the next Warren Buffett, whether we want to believe it or not. Just like I'm not the next best sports gambler, and I learned that quite quickly. And so by investing in index funds, you follow basically the overall market. And if the overall market goes up, your investment's growing. If the overall market goes down, then you're losing money too, but you're not so concentrated in one single stock that those fluctuate more often. They're more volatile and a lot more risky, because if you look at the top 20 companies 25 years ago, how many of them are in the top 20 in total companies in the United States today? Not many, a handful. There's a couple. Facebook wasn't around. Nvidia wasn't around. Amazon wasn't around. I mean, those companies that started, I mean, Apple and Amazon started like just before 2000, but like they weren't one of the top companies in the world. So that's why it's very important to diversify in index funds so that you can be diversified and you don't have as much risk, and you kind of follow the average return of the stock market, which you'll return around 7 to 10%, which will pay you tenfold over the course of the next 40 years. Does that make sense?
Yes.
For this example, what we'll say is you will start investing in 12 months from now, because you'll pay your minimum payments on your student loans since they're 4% interest or under 4% interest. So you'll start investing just to max out your Roth IRA every single year, and you already have $9,000 in your retirement account. So you go ahead and invest $583 a month for the next 40 years, from 27 to 67, at a 7% rate of return. Do you know how much money you would have when you're 67 years old?
I don't.
$7,000 a year you're going to put in. Take a guess.
When I'm 67, you said? So that's about 40 years from now. So you said 7,000?
So $280,000 you'll put in. What's the total value of that account if you're earning 7% a year?
It's a lot.
$1.67 million. And if you can pay off your credit card debt, if you can pay off $2,000 worth of student loans every single month, do you think you can invest $583 a month for the next 40 years? And wouldn't it be nice to retire with at least $1.6 million?
Yes. Did you say die or retire?
No, retire.
I think you said die with $1.7 million.
No, retire with $1.6 million, because that's a heck of a lot better than retiring with $0. And that means that is only investing in maxing out your Roth IRA every single year. That doesn't include, hey, as your student loans get paid off in 5 or 6 years, you can then invest $1,000 a month. You can then invest $2,000 a month. Like, you'd have much more bandwidth to do that at the time. So that's why it's very important to start investing early, versus if you wait until you're 40 years old, you'd have $600,000. So by waiting to invest and waiting to pay off your debt for 13 years, it's going to cost you $1 million. And I don't think you want to retire with $600,000 when you have the ability to retire with around $1.6 million. So that goes to show waiting will just cost you in the long run. But that also shows why you can't invest when you have credit card debt. Because credit card debt, you're paying 30% or 22% interest rate on your credit cards. But if you only earn 7% in the stock market, you're losing that arbitrage game. You're getting charged 22%, but you're earning 7%. It doesn't make sense to invest when you have credit card debt. Does it make sense to invest when you have 3% student loans? The math shows historically it does. So you can play that arbitrage game. Some people would say pay out the student loans. Some might have the peace of mind of paying out the student loans first. But as long as you either investing or paying out the student loans, you can't go wrong. You should end up in a similar situation. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Well, Christian, what do you think the biggest financial mistake you've made in your life?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, looking at the numbers, I feel like I would going to NYU for college.
It's an expensive lesson. It's an expensive lesson, but hopefully you can at least take that lesson. And
do you agree with that?
I would typically suggest going $100,000 worth of debt for college is not the best financial decision. If you're a doctor or a lawyer, definitely think that could be an argument to be made, because you can make a lot of money doing that. But I think where the world has failed us is kids in high school and college aren't talked to about the consequences of doing that. You didn't know when you took on those loans, hey, you're going to have $1,500. I keep saying $1,500. It's $1,900 a month of payments on these student loans. You didn't know that was going to be the situation when you graduate. And so I do think it is an expensive lesson. I think it is good that you finish. Some people will take on loans and they don't finish their education, so they don't even have a degree to show for it. I've seen student loans that are more than it. I've seen that are less. So I would agree. It is an expensive lesson. Think that you're in a better spot than most in terms of your interest rate on your student loans, which is good. But I would agree. It's a very expensive lesson. I think the other financial mistake that you've made is the credit card, I think, is a very big one because it's only $10,000, but that is a much higher interest rate on your credit card than on your student loans. So, I mean, basically if you think about it, you have $120,000 worth of student loans at a 3% or 3.5% interest rate on average, you're paying about $4,000 a year in interest on $120,000. But you're paying $2,200 at least worth of interest on your credit card every single year. And so you're basically paying half the interest for less than a tenth of the balance of your student loans on your credit card. So it goes to show that your credit card is destroying you per dollar more than your student loans. Both of them not the best decisions, but we can't change the past. We can only change how you're going to tackle this in the future, how you can get this paid off. My goal for you would be, hey, how do you get the credit card paid off in the next 6 months, 6 to 12 months? It's going to take working extra hours. It's going to take finding and hustling for more side gigs and jobs. But if you can get that paid off in 6 to 12 months, that's going to open up endless amount of opportunities for you to be investing, to attack the student loans, to maybe move out on your own one day. But while you're living at home and you have the freedom to not have living expenses, you need to be throwing every single dollar of this debt to pay it off because you could not survive renting a place by yourself right now with all this debt and these payments and the credit card. So what piece of advice would you give to someone in the same situation as you?
Everything that you said.
There we go.
Piece of advice. Wait, so in the same situation as me?
Yeah, in the same situation as you. Credit card debt and student loans.
I guess I'm look into doing a balance transfer and opening another credit card to move money from your existing credit card that you have like significant debt on. In other words, park it there so that it would be in an low interest.
Save yourself some interest payments every single month, but the only way to do that is to attack the debt after you do the balance sheet.
Yes.
But that will save you $1,000 for the next 12 months paying off this debt. I agree. I think it's a good piece of advice as long as you attack the issue, because like I said, it's just a Band-Aid. It's not the cure. It is a Band-Aid for a short-term solution. So as long as you're attacking that after doing the balance transfer, I think it's a great idea to do with that. So
Yeah, likewise.